Yeah. Maybe I can just get things rolling by asking whether the film sticks closely to the story of this man and his family.
Well, it depends on the scene, but every scene has a base in facts somehow. Sometimes it's really direct and 100%. Sometimes it's some things from different parts just connected into one scene.
And what was it like doing the research? Was it easy? Was it very complicated? Did it take a long time?
You know, for me it was actually very easy because the screenwriter Robert Bolesto, he spent, I guess, 8 years on working on this. So when I got the script, it was 90% of what's in the film, actually, from the screenwriter's point of view, of course. And I did my research by myself to check what he did before. Just a double check is always good. And we did this with every actor because this is, I would say, that's probably one of the, or this is the most documented family ever, because the materials are huge charges, you know. You can't really get everything. Zdzisław Beksiński started to record his family in 1957, a year before Tomek was born. And since that day, he recorded a lot of things, a lot of crap, but also a lot of very important conversations. And you may see some of them in the film.
Would anyone like to jump in and ask a question? Yes, at the back, please. Sorry, what happened to all the art?
Most of his paintings and most of his art in Sanok, in historical museum in Sanok, which is their hometown. And there are several other exhibitions in Poland. There is a new one that will be open this weekend, I think, in New Krakow. And there's another one in Częstochowa. A lot of the paintings are in Poland around. And they are still alive, and of course, because of the film, there is a new wave around it. 2 or 3 years ago, there was a book by Magdalena Grzebałkowska about the family. It was like, for me, it's an anthology of the family, because it's not only about the Warsaw period, which is in the film, but it's also about the childhood of Zdzisław Beksiński, the whole family route, actually. And it was quite a big thing in Poland, and it was published more or less at the same moment when I found the script. So we had to actually go around the book, because somebody might just feel that that's an adaptation of the book, and it's not, because that's just the same story. And there are several other books published in Poland. For example, Zdzisław Beksiński's short novels. And this is another very interesting perspective about this unusual character.
And you had a question at the back, please. What was the inspiration, the motivation for you to tell this story?
Well, it's not at all romantic, and it's very silly, but that was just great script. I'm not a writer-director. I was looking for a good script for my first narrative feature, and I found out that there is a script written by Robert, and I contacted him, and he liked me, I liked him, I liked the script, and that's how it happened.
So you'd only directed documentary films before, or had you directed a narrative short?
Well,
before?
I did some short films, both narrative and documentary. I'm kind of getting out of the documentary box because my previous film was a documentary feature, Deep Love. It was quite a big success, and that's why I'm stick to the documentary. But, well, I used to, because now I'm stick to the Death Family.
Well, it certainly has a very mature feel to it for being your first narrative feature. It's quite extraordinary that way. Several questions now. We'll go here and then down this way, please. Yes.
Designing the visuals of the film, did you take any cues from Dickinson's paintings? And if not, sort of
Well, we know from the very beginning that his paintings are really, I would say, cinematic, visual, very strong visually. But the whole idea was to just put the paintings on the walls in this apartment and leave it as a part of, I would say, as a part of the furniture and focus on the family. We did inspire by the huge archives. I mean, as you saw in the film, he was filming with his VHS camera for several years, and we went through all the archives, which are like hours and hours of very strange, sometimes very private things. And that was one of the things that made me that took me to the decision that we have to do master shots. I mean, every scene is a master shot here. We don't do additional close-ups. Every scene is one shot, and that was one of the formal ideas behind the film.
Very disciplined approach. Yes.
So if there are many scenes that was shot out of the room, so the action was in a different room, and there was one or two different doors between us and the action, was there a special motivation for that, or was it just visually compelling?
Well, we didn't want to be too close, I would say, because I knew that there are some levels of privacy here. Some of them we could move, we could get into, and some of them we just can't. And that was one of them. If we're talking, for example, about the Christmas Eve scene, we knew that we have to see them from the opposite side of the apartment to feel that this family is happy, and we don't want to really bother them, I would say. And that was why.
You had a question? Oh, yeah, here, please. Sorry.
I know you said you were motivated by finding the script to make this film, and this is your first feature film. So watching it now, are you satisfied? How do you like the final product?
I'll repeat the question, just a general observation, but ending with, how do you feel about the finished product? Were you able to achieve what you hoped with the material?
One of the most important things for me was to find the right producer who will understand my way of thinking about this film. And that I would underline at least one very important thing, which is time. And I have to say that the producer gave me time during the pre-production of this film. We worked over a year before we started shooting. I mean, the whole crew, with actors, with the cinematographer, with the editor also. For example, we did storyboards for the whole film, and we worked with it. We did a thing called Still-O-Matic, which is actually a film edited from the storyboards, and we recorded the whole dialogue with actors. So we could we could get I would say, a sketch of the film. And I really liked that way because I could control the whole process. And what you just saw on the screen is something that I really like, and I'm really happy that that's my first film. Someone might, push me to go this way or this way. I mean, the producer, I didn't have any problems with getting the actors, for example. and I had time to edit the film, so I'm quite happy, and I'm afraid that with the another one that won't be that nice. Yeah.
Given those conditions where you're able to take time and the cramped space you're working in, what about the lighting? Did you have to really work hard at the lighting during the shoot?
Well, it depends what you're asking about, because we knew that we have to be as close to the reality as it was. We decided to build the whole thing. I mean, we literally built both flats in the studio. There were at least two reasons. One of them was to have the, I would say, ability to control every element of the way it should be filmed. And the other one was that it would be really hard to shoot in real locations because they're just too small. I mean, we couldn't do that kind of shot. And yeah, that's about it, I think.
So that's a lot of care with the lighting. Okay.
No, you know, well, that's not my thing. That's more the director of photography. But I remember us talking about, okay, we're shooting in a studio, but we want to do it as it would be just a regular apartment. So no, you know, half measures, just to do it like it would be a regular apartment.
Okay, we'll move this direction now, please. Starting here and then going back. Yes, please. So the question generally is whether the curiosity was the surreality or strangeness of the family. Was this what interested you?
You know, everyone is insane in a way, and that's what film is about. I think that's one of the themes here. When you're sometimes feeling strange, you feel like an alien, and I wanted to show that that's not really true, because you can be different and so normal in the same moment, and the space between. This is something that, you know, everyone can actually complete with. I don't know.
Negotiate.
Experience, yeah, that's a better word.
Okay. Yes, Robert, we'll start with you.
Yeah, that's he had that kind of statements on walls everywhere. We decided that this one is nice because in their life, in their story, there was a lot of irony. And one of the things that is really interesting for me, privately, not as a director of this film, is that when you're actually recording everything, every part of your life, you don't really get the idea, or you're not really sure if it's true, because the people you're actually recording, they are start to act. So, in a way, everything you saw in the film might be just a part that was, you know, played. That was one of the themes that we discussed all over again with actors, because that was really, really tricky. if there's a camera standing there, they know they are recorded. If, I don't know how many of you went at least once to a TV show to say something, it's not a normal situation. And I think there was some kind of a feeling like this with them, with this family. But it wasn't like a one-time thing. It was all the time. And I don't know, it's hard to say, but it's interesting.
Yes, please.
I saw his paintings for the first time when I was 10 or 11, and I said, well, okay, that's interesting. That was one of the painters in that age. I know that I was very little, but I already knew some of the surrealists like Dali, Miro, and so on and so on. And I realized that, okay, there's Beksiński, that's a guy from Poland, and that's new. And since that day, I went to, I think, almost every exhibition that was somewhere around. But he was never like my favorite painter. He was like one of them. And this script actually was the main reason, because I was looking for a great script for several years. And when I saw those scenes, and when I read the script for the first time, I realized that that's a thing I could work with for a couple of years. And it took almost 3 till this day.
Yes, please.
Well, I think they are all gone. There is some cousin of a cousin very like far, but there is nobody left, and the whole heritage, every piece of his art is owned by the Museum of History in Sanok. And fortunately for Beksiński family, they have really smart people there who care about almost everything, although the chairs from one of the rooms are standing in the corridor in the museum. And for example, the refrigerators, they had 2 refrigerators there with the security. Now, I don't know if there is Coke inside, but so when we were preparing this film, I wanted to go to, I think, everyone who was close to the family and ask some questions. I mean, both ways. They asked us, we asked them. Because we knew that this has to be close to the reality. Finally, when the film is done, there are also, of course, several people who think that's not how they were in the reality. But that's always with the films that are based on true events. I remember that it was like a couple years ago with the film Steve Jobs. And, I love Michael Fassbender, he's a great actor, but he never looked like Steve Jobs. And that's the same thing with Andrzej Seweryn. That's sort of interpretation. And after all, that's 3 decades squeezed into 2 hours. So that's always there's something missing.
Yes, please.
Was the murder solved and
They got him quite fast. There was a motive which I don't believe in it, actually, because there was the money situation that the kid, he had some financial situation with some kind of a mob in Warsaw. And he said during the interrogation, not the first, not the second, but the seventh. So I guess somebody told him what. That's my opinion. That's not like the official one. That he needed money. He came to Zdzisław Beksiński at night. He didn't want to give him this money, and that's why he killed him. And it sounds, unreasonable, because and with he's in jail. He got, I think, 25 years or 30. We didn't want to put this motive in the film because that's not a mystery murder case. That's a totally different film. That's why we cut it out from the film.
Yes, please.
So the film obviously looks very realistic, and it's almost like shot by Beksiński himself. And there's one scene that stands out, and it's maybe not that realistic to me, and I was wondering if there is any purpose. The scene that you mentioned already, the Christmas Eve, when they're sitting at the table, the two women are praying, and they don't care. They unpack the presents. It's like in Polish family, last family, possible. So I was wondering if that was just a vision of the script, of the person who script, or was it like some background?
Well, I don't remember now, but I guess there was some strong background for the scene. I'm pretty sure that it happened, and that's how it was in this family. And that's one of the scenes that shows that this family was really an extraordinary Polish family, I would say.
There's a question in here. No? Okay, so we'll here and then here, please. And then we better wrap up.
I kept thinking when we would see the external shots of the apartment complex, especially looking down the walkways through there, I kept thinking of the apartments in Kieslowski's Decalogue. Is there anything to that, or is that just coincidence?
He was reminded of Kieslowski's Decalogue, so stylistically was that an inspiration?
Well, I would say that accidental because that's like Neighbors, because Decalogue was shot one underground station further. So that's more or less the same style of buildings. The difference is that in Decalogue they had their buildings they could shot on location, and we had to create everything in the CGI. That's the huge difference.
Yes, please.
Which actor won the award? What was the award?
So the film had its world premiere in Locarno and won the award for Best Actor. So the question is, who is this that won?
That's Andrzej Seweryn, who played Zdzisław Beksiński, the main actor.
And he's a well-known actor in...
He's a well-known actor in Poland. He's actually even, I think, more well-known in France, because he used to live in France for over 3 decades. He was one of 3 actors not from France who used to work in Comédie Française.
Well, thank you so much for the film. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.